Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Tone's Market Analysis. Oh, hold on. Headset. It's sound. Welcome to another edition of Tone's Market Analysis for Sunday, May something. I don't even know. What's today? May 28th. Okay, sorry about that. So not prepared for this. And I'm shooting this on location. I will be turning on my camera later during the Q&A, mostly because when I shoot on location, I don't want to expose names of people on my Skype account and other things. I really hope that my internet is holding up and everyone is able to watch this live. Let me see how many live viewers. We already have 52 live viewers. Excellent. Have not had the chance to update my website. That is all coming next week. Next week, I'm finally home. No more conferences all over the world like last week. Family barbecues this week in light of Memorial Day. And it's been really hectic. The Bitcoin price is all over the place, and we'll get to that in a minute. My calendar will be fully updated next week. I'll be doing my travel schedule for the summer. I'm still not fully sure where I'm going, but I am going somewhere. I decided to just start off with an old article that I wrote a while back, almost 2 years ago now, where I wrote, "Will escorts take Bitcoin to the next level?" And because people are now starting to realize that everyone is tokenizing, and yes, tokens have been used for escort services going back to the Roman times. It's just like people on Twitter were referencing it to me. Also, check out my Twitter. I've been tweeting a lot. A lot of my tweets have been getting very popular. Also, thank you to my followers. I have broken 10,000 followers on Twitter, which is a pretty big milestone. I'm not sure what the next milestone is. I guess the next milestone is 100,000 followers. It'll probably take me years and years and years to get there, but I will keep trying. Let's just jump right into the markets. Once again, I'm going to do a very, very quick traditional market analysis. Some people don't understand why I still do it. Some people actually only watch the traditional market stuff because they don't trade Bitcoin. I promise I will be separating the videos into two. I'm going to work on that over the next few weeks, trying to figure out the most optimal way to do it. So we had that one scare with Trump potential impeachment. Market crashed. Everyone probably realized what a dumb idea it is to impeach Trump, because then everyone loses money, people lose jobs, companies go out of business. Nobody wants, no one other than huge gold holders really want to see the stock market crash. So that was in everybody's terrible interest, and we went up. We just made more all-time highs. The S&P is now fully bullish. All these green arrows are back online. Now, May is traditionally a bearish time in the stock market. You sell in May and you go away on vacation. It did not happen this May other than one horrible day. And what can we say? I've been bullish the stock market for years, and I will remain ultra bullish the stock market. Here's the weekly chart of the S&P 500. And again, everything looks good. We've now broken above my resistance. This downward triangle never materialized. It was all up. I have this green arrow. When it comes to all-time highs, it's almost impossible to pick a price point that is relevant. The best we can do is a Fibonacci projection. The Fibonacci projection that I have listed right here is 2,660. And let's see how long it takes for the market to get there. Okay, gold. This is a little bit strange in that not only is the stock market going up, but so is gold. That is a rare situation. I'm not sure how long it's going to last. This is a daily chart of gold. I did put this bullish sign off of this bullish triangle. This isn't making sense to me. I would not buy gold here. I would only buy gold if we're getting into the 300 area, 1300 area, I should say, because that would create a double top at 1290. And if we have a double top at 1290, I would expect that double top to be broken to the upside. But we still can get rejected right here, mostly because if you look at the weekly, we are back at this declining trend line, and every time you wanted to fight this declining trend line, it ended up being a very, very bad idea. So I would need to see not only a break of the trend line, but also a break of this prior high. That would give me the confidence to go long gold into 1375. That would create another double top, causing a potential gold move to the upside, back to 1500. I will not, however, assume that's going to happen. If I was to put my money on a trade in gold, it would be to the downside. But even that, I'm not too certain of. Let's say 52% certain gold is going to go down here, and 48% certain it's going up. Those are not the percentages I trade. I don't trade unless I think it's like 75-25 in my favor. And that doesn't mean the trade's going to work out, but at least it's in my favor from a technical perspective. And currently, gold isn't. Here's oil. Oil is just in no man's land. Oil has been in no man's land for almost a year, basically since around here. Since around May of last year, oil has done absolutely nothing. And so there's no volatility in oil, and I'm still looking for oil to go to the downside. The longer it stays here, the longer the 200-week moving average comes down, the harder it will be for it to go back up. And meanwhile, technology is progressing at a very steep pace. Oops, got these backwards. Here's the euro. The euro continues to show a little bit of strength. To me, this is just a giant dead cat bounce, and this dead cat bounce will may go a little bit more, especially if Merkel is looking like she's going to win the election. And if she wins the election, though, to me, it is a dead cat bounce. The worst possible situation, which is the most likely situation, is that the euro would break above this yellow line, and the euro would go all the way to 1.15, 1.16, maybe 1.18, maybe even all the way to 1.2 to the US dollar, creating this unreal confidence in the euro, and then a giant crash. That would kind of get all of these short traders on the wrong side of the trade, thinking that euro is ready to surpass the US dollar, like they expected 25 years ago, and then it all falls apart very, very quickly. Because remember, it's the market's job to make 90% of the people lose 90% of their money. And the euro will find a way to get people on the wrong side of the trade. But needless to say, I'm not touching the euro. So that also means that this bearish trade that was working out really, really well was taken completely off the table. I still think the pound should be much stronger than the euro, but right now it's going back up. If the pound goes above this yellow line, then this whole shape, the Head and Shoulders falls apart. The Head and Shoulders target was never reached, but I think eventually it will. But right now, again, currencies are in no man's land, so I'm not touching it. All right, let's see how we do on the live viewers. We got 175 live viewers. Beautiful. That means everything's working. Hopefully you are getting good sound, because I forgot to switch the microphones just before I went live. And you'll probably hearing some noise in the background, and I'll be turning on my camera during the Q&A in order not to expose my Skype channel and some of the other personal information on my one monitor that I have at the moment. All right, so Bitcoin. Last time I did this video, Bitcoin was at 2,500, making this exponential candle. I kept saying that Bitcoin is still in a bullish market, and I don't know when this is going to end. And I actually rewatched my last video because I wanted to make sure I didn't create any unreasonable expectations, telling people to, all run into Bitcoin and buy it. And then I went to sleep, and the next thing I know, I wake up in the morning and Bitcoin is down $700 all the way back to 2,000. That was kind of crazy. So I rewatched it, and I strongly recommend people going back and watching my last video, it actually had over 6,000 views, which is definitely a record for a Tone's market analysis video. And I think I was fairly careful and gave a serious warning to the possibility of Bitcoin having this monster 24 to 48 hour crash, and where that crash is going to end. So right now, we have about 6 more hours left on this weekly candle. And if this weekly candle closes with this giant wick that you see right now, that is a cause for concern, okay? We don't like these giant wicks, okay? Look at the last time we had a giant wick, even though this was a bearish red candle, right here on the 2nd of January, the second week of January, sorry, the first week of January, I should say. And also right here on the first week of November 2015, we had this giant wick, and then the following week was not pretty either. So you don't want to see these big wicks coming from the top. Now, on the flip side, when you have these long wicks from the bottom side, like what happened here on January 2015, right here in August 2015, and right here in October, looks like, of 2016. These giant wicks on the downside are very, very positive. We can even go back further to the first week of October 2013, when Silk Road was busted, and right here signaling the 2014 low in April of 2014. When you have these giant wicks from the downside, they're very bullish. In reverse, these giant wicks from the upside are generally bearish, okay? And I'm going to talk more about the altcoins in a bit, but let's just stick to Bitcoin for now. All right, so that's the weekly view of Bitcoin. Here is the daily view of Bitcoin. This is Bitstamp. And when I talked about it last week, I drew this yellow horizontal line. And I was cautioning people when the price was 2,500. I was cautioning that if Bitcoin had a sudden crash in its prices, the most reasonable place for this crash to end would be right at this yellow line, basically between the pink and the green. And the range I gave was 1,900 to 2,000. This, I said, was going to be the most common place to buy Bitcoin back in case of a flash crash, and you missed this monster run-up. Look, I'm not saying I'm a prophet. I would say that was a lucky guess more than anything. That was a very, I would say that was a generally optimistic thing to say, because as you can see, we went out of the channel. And if I pull up the video, not the video, sorry, like charts of other things that fall out of the channel, I mean, things usually get ugly. When you have these euphorias, they usually crash to the bottom of the channel and go outside the channel from the bottom side. I don't expect that to happen to Bitcoin. I still think Bitcoin has huge momentum to continue going up into August 14th. I'm being very, very specific with my August 14th date, but let's just say August, early to mid-August. I'm expecting the price of Bitcoin to remain bullish. Will Bitcoin go above the all-time high of 2,700 by August 14th? I honestly don't know. I don't know. This was the question posed on the Bitcoin group on Friday. I strongly recommend people go and watch the Bitcoin group. Go to the World Crypto Network YouTube. Watch Friday's Bitcoin group. I think it was probably our best show ever. It was 2 hours. We had Krista Rose. We had Vortex. We had Gabriel Devine on. It was a really, really, really good show. And we really like got into some of those topics about consensus, about the token summit, about the ICOs, and about the price of Bitcoin. So I'm not sure yet. I will provide a lot more detail on what I see going into August We still have a lot of contention around the user-activated soft fork. We still have a lot of contentions with the big blockers, and they still want to fork Bitcoin into two. I'm very, very against it. But I remain bullish Bitcoin right here. I think, and this is going on a huge limb, I think we bottomed. I think the fall 2 days ago from 2,700 to 1,900, on some exchanges we were down for brief seconds to 1,850. I honestly think the worst is over, which is a very dangerous position to take, because if I pull up the typical view of a bubble, it has an initial crash, then it comes back, and it's coming back now, and then it has a real fall, and that is very, very possible. So what I will say is, I remain bullish Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin was a good buy 2 days ago at 2,000, and I tweeted it out. Let me even pull that up. I tweeted this out the moment I could the other day on my Twitter, where I said, this is where I'm looking for Bitcoin to bounce, right here, right in this circle, right there, which corresponded to this circle right here between 1,900 and 2,000. And I put this green arrow right up there. This is an hourly chart, and I just extended this line a little bit as we were crossing it. This was my circle of where Bitcoin should have bounced. That one up there, I'll even zoom in, right here, and right there. And if you look at the dates, this is 24th, that's 26th. That means right here is 28. And right now, we're probably over here on 29, all right? So if I go back, and now, this is just Bitfinex. It looks exactly the same. You know, Bitstamp and Bitfinex are now trading almost at parity again. Oh, look, Bitfinex is $100 lower than Bitstamp. Like, I don't even know which one's correct anymore. Like, I'm using both of them. Here's the hourly chart. This is what it looked like when I did that picture, and the big I took that picture right here on this down wick, and this was where my big circle was. And as you can see, we are back under this yellow line. I honestly believe that the low is in. It's a bit of a dangerous position. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna put a line, and I know this is Bitfinex, so whatever exchange you're using, do it accordingly. I'm gonna draw a line right here. Now 1,800 is even too low. I'm gonna extend this line. I'm not even gonna draw that. I'm gonna extend this line. I'm gonna extend this $1,900 line. You know, 1,899, 1,900 line. If we fall below this line, Bitcoin's in trouble. I think we're going to stay above this line. I honestly think we're going to stay above 1,900 on Bitfinex. If we don't, that means there is trouble in segregated witness being adopted. So I do expect us to go back up. And I think we're going to get back above this yellow line and be above 2,100 soon on Bitfinex, and then we go up. We were in this channel for a little while. That was very optimistic, and I talked about it a lot last video. So if you look at Bitfinex, we're inside the green channel. If we look at Bitstamp, we're above the green channel. Now I'm hearing the Chinese exchanges that were trading hundreds of dollars below Bitfinex and Stamp are now trading above Bitfinex and Stamp. I'm not really sure what that means. Haven't had time to look into it. I have to say about Bitcoin, my August 14th date is, of course, comes from this article in Cointelegraph that I wrote on August 31st, 2014. Please review that article. I will be updating this article in June in order to provide more clarity on what I see going into August, because I think will be one of the most critical months in the life cycle of Bitcoin, at least this decade. August 14, 2017 will be the most important date this decade. It may even be more important than the halving date, but the halving date will probably come next decade, though I'm a little confused when a decade starts. Does it start on the year or on 2021? I'm assuming it will start January 1st, 2020. And I'm not sure if the halving will be a little bit before that or a little bit after that. It really depends on how strong the mining structure is of Bitcoin. This is a good time for you to ask your questions. Rich, I believe, is helping me out again in collecting the questions. I am now at 265 live viewers, so thank you for that, guys. Thank you for a few of you that have been donating. That's great. Also, last episode was my highest viewed episode ever, and of course, because I'm such like a terrible I have like terrible monetization, I totally forgot to mention the tone-based consulting services. But most people already know, for 0.1 Bitcoins per hour, we can't talk about more advanced stuff. I try not to advise people to sell, when to buy or sell Bitcoin. I try to provide all that information for free here on the general channel. But people hit me up about general markets, and when they do, I tend to share those graphics with the users. So a couple of people hit me up, wanted to talk about general markets, because some people have profited good money from Bitcoin, and now you want to diversify into other markets. And on this chart right here, the NASDAQ is in blue, the S&P 500 is in red, and the NASDAQ 100 is in yellow. Look how the NASDAQ 100 has been crushing the S&P 500 and even the NASDAQ. These are your top 100 NASDAQ stocks. And I took a look at what's composed in those. And some notable companies are still missing from the NASDAQ 100. I know this outperformance seems ridiculously crazy, but tech is going to take over the world. It really, really is. I remain bullish the tech sector. I remain bullish the NASDAQ. I remain bullish the NASDAQ 100 especially. And look at the dot-com crisis versus 2007. Look how much lower techs were. Techs were still at a 50% discount, and then they exploded to the upside. I think techs are going to continue to outperform. We're going to have robots. We're going to have self-driving cars. And then something crazy will happen. I don't know, maybe a major solar EMP knocking out the internet. And then all these self-driving cars will like grind to a halt. And all these robots would stop working. And then there'll be a giant tech crash. And then it'll recover, right? Like, we don't know. I mean, these giant crashes happen. But I'm still bullish the stock market. And I'm bearish the bond market, which is what we discussed also in earlier episodes. All right. Also, people called me up. Finally, somebody asked me about Ethereum Classic. I've never had an Ethereum Classic chart before a few days ago because somebody wanted to talk about Ethereum Classic. I was gladly wanted to talk about Ethereum Classic. So if you look, the previous high for Ethereum Classic in terms of dollars was right here. And after it busted through this previous high, when it crashed, it fell exactly to this line. I mean, look, some people don't believe in technical analysis, but you've seen me make these lines on Bitcoin all the time. All the time. There's no reason why I wouldn't do it on altcoins. And look, Ethereum Classic fell from $22 down to $7.50, touching the previous high exactly. And this would have been a great time to buy Ethereum Classic to double your money all the way to 16. Of course, I didn't do that. I wasn't even looking at Ethereum Classic. But if you are a trader of Ethereum Classic, these are the kinds of trades you should be doing. Oh, my time is spent, you know, trolling at conferences and making videos and trying to trade traditional markets. So I don't have time to look at these altcoins, nor do I want to, because I don't believe there's anything fundamental holding up these altcoins, and I think they're all going to zero. So I don't speculate on them, because with my luck, the day I buy any altcoin is the day the altcoin market goes to zero. So maybe I should do that and I create a self-fulfilling prophecy. Here's a daily chart of Ethereum Classic. Again, once you throw Fibonacci's on from the high, oh, I'm sorry, this is a 60-minute chart. This was the daily chart. This is the 60-minute chart. And if you throw Fibonacci's from the high of $22, but this one is in terms of Ethereum Classic to Bitcoin, once you throw it onto here, you can see it came all the way back to the 62% Fibonacci, and then it fell down to the 50. So my advice right here is Ethereum Classic is still looking very good, even against Bitcoin. So if Ethereum Classic against Bitcoin falls back below this Fibonacci, I would then expect it to get to the bottom, creating a double bottom, and I would then expect it to keep falling down. If it goes above this Fibonacci line of 68%, I would expect it to go back to the all-time high and then have a chance to break it. Now, I think it's absolutely crazy that Ethereum Classic would continue to appreciate against Bitcoin, but on the flip side, here is Ethereum Classic versus Ethereum. This is another reason why I hate altcoins, right? If you look at something like Ethereum Classic, you have to chart it against the dollar, you have to chart it against Bitcoin, and you have to chart it against Ethereum. Guys, this is nonsense, right? When I trade Apple stock, I always trade it against the US dollar. I don't trade it against anything else. I think it's absolutely insane to look at this stuff against 3 other currencies. It's madness, okay? So this is a daily chart of Ethereum Classic on Poloniex, and you draw this giant trend line connecting the 2 prior highs of inception and the high in January, and then boom, you came right up to this trend line, and then you fell. But you fell to a higher low. So this allows you to create a trend line from the bottom, and they come to a point right here. So to me, the daily chart of Ethereum Classic versus Ethereum is looking like we're going to potentially pull back a little bit. Ethereum is going to have a little bit of a run, maybe another month of Ethereum. And then something catastrophic is going to happen to Ethereum, because it's insane that the valuation of Ethereum is $200, okay? And then potentially all these ICOs can easily migrate to Ethereum Classic, the one that doesn't have a leader that could get, arrested, killing all confidence, not only in Ethereum, but in everything built on top of Ethereum. Ethereum Classic seems to be way more decentralized and way less people in control, and that's what you need for a cryptocurrency. People still haven't figured that part out, which is why they don't understand why Bitcoin is still so valuable. This is just, my random thinking that Ethereum Classic versus Ethereum still has some downside until exploding to the upside. Not that I'm a fan of Ethereum Classic. I mean, to me, Ethereum Classic is what Ethereum was, and I never liked what Ethereum was anyway. I hate Ethereum even more after the hard fork to save people money in the DAO. Okay, so these are just some of the things that I talk about with my private clients. That's about it. Just a glance. Oh, by the way, just so you guys know, I do not have a single chart of Monero. No one has ever called me for a private session to discuss Monero, which is why Monero has never actually been covered on my show. I'll occasionally throw a bone at an altcoin, only because, look, I'm doing it for you guys. If someone wants to pay my hourly rate and put together a chart, then everybody will benefit. Okay? It's a way of me giving back to the community here. If I refresh this, what do we got? Ethereum is at 165, Bitcoin is at 2127. Bitcoin is still below 50% dominance, and that's fine. Okay, let me close all of these Ethereum charts. And by the way, I do talk about gold and traditional markets also in these in my private sessions. It's whatever you want. It's totally open. And some people don't spend the entire hour, so they tend to have they get to ask me some questions later on. Okay, let me close the Ethereum. That's pretty much it. Oh, I was going to talk about one broker because they're removing Bitcoin. You know what? Maybe I'll save that for next time. If you look at the description of my video, there is an affiliate code to one broker. One broker is what I use to trade things like gold, oil in these little tiny trades against Bitcoin. It's just so, you know, just for fun. That's not my actual trading portfolio. I specialize in trading options, more specifically option spreads. All right, that's all I pretty much have to say. I'm actually gonna go ahead and stop screen share, mostly because I want to look at your questions and I don't want to share the screen for that. So if I have to turn the screen back on, I will do that. But yeah, it's actually not as nice out here as it looks. I'm in northern Pennsylvania in the middle of a forest, and it's kind of cold. So, all right, let's take a look at your questions. How do you mitigate downside risk based on your August 14th prediction? I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure how big the downside risk is yet. It really depends what the price of Bitcoin is in mid-August. If the price of Bitcoin in mid-August is around $2,000, which is what I originally predicted on in the beginning of the year, I thought we would be at 2,000 going into August 14th, and then we would have, you know, a 25% correction down to about 1,500, and then closing the year at about 1,750. So if that was going to be my profile for the future of Bitcoin, I wasn't going to mitigate that risk at all. I was just going to hold through it, right? What are the other possibilities? The other possibilities are that Bitcoin goes to all-time highs into August in light of SegWit activation, which means that Bitcoin will be at a price of 3,000 to 5,000 going into August. Complications with SegWit, or SegWit not going through last minute, or SegWit going through last minute and it being a sell the news event, can then drop Bitcoin several thousands of dollars in price. That kind of risk I would really like to mitigate. I'm not sure I would want to mitigate it by shorting Bitcoin on Bitcoin futures exchanges. So I may actually sell a little bit of Bitcoin, but if I sell Bitcoin, I'm not planning to buy that Bitcoin back, okay? I just don't want to lose out. I don't know if Bitcoin is going to survive into the future. I have no clue. Nobody does. Okay, so if I'm selling, let's say I decide to sell 10% of my Bitcoin, which is not even that much Bitcoin, but you know, it'll pay my mortgage, you know, for a little while. So let's say I decide to sell 10 or 20% of my Bitcoin. That means that's it. That means my core position now becomes 20% of my Bitcoin. I don't have a job, guys. I make money from your donations and consulting services. All the trading that I do is in my retirement accounts. So I'm not even planning to touch that until I actually retire in my 60s, okay? Which is closer than it sounds at this point. And Bitcoin is aging me unreasonably quick. If I sell my Bitcoin, let's say I sell 20% of my Bitcoin or whatever, that's it. I'm not selling it to buy it back cheaper. That means I'm selling it at a good price that I'm happy with. And I'm not going to feel bad if Bitcoin drops. I'm going to be like, okay, good. I cashed out at a good price, and I'm sitting with the rest of my Bitcoin into the next halving. But it all depends on the price of Bitcoin. Now, if Bitcoin continues to crash, and we're going into August at a price of around 1,000, then I would consider August a buy event and not a sell event. Okay, because remember, my August 14th date is a critical date in a life cycle of Bitcoin. It may still be a little too early to assume that it's going to be the high causing a downturn versus a low causing an upturn, like what happened with my last critical date back in June 2016. It's just a critical date that I'm watching. And we'll see. I'll talk more about it. I'm talking about it every video, so you'll be fully aware of my thoughts as we get closer and closer. Okay, next. If BIP 148, which is the user-activated soft fork, could potentially split Bitcoin into 2 coins, why is it called a soft fork? That is a very, very good question. Because the BIP itself, remember, it is a soft fork. So the only way the user-activated soft fork will split Bitcoin into 2 is if people are actually running a Bitcoin Unlimited nodes and not SegWit compatible nodes, right? So let's just say user-activated soft fork has a lesser chance to split Bitcoin into 2 than a hard fork does, but it has a higher chance of splitting Bitcoin into 2 than a miner activated soft fork does for SegWit. So, which is why I would like to avoid a user-activated soft fork, and the miners just need to get on board. But other people are smarter than me in explaining this. I am not the guy to go to explain this phenomenon. Maybe if I spent a little more time researching the user-activated soft fork, which I promise I will do over the next few weeks. I keep promising everything over the next few weeks. I have no idea how I'm going to get it done, but at least I'm not going to trade traditional markets over the next 2 weeks. I do have people around me, so. All right, next question. What are the best indicators to use Bitcoin chart analysis? You know what? Everyone is different. Some people swear by Elliott waves, and I think Elliott waves are the stupidest form of technical analysis. Some people really like the Ichimoku cloud, which I don't use because I never properly learned how to trade the cloud. There are hundreds of technical analysis indicators, and I prefer using them in combination. And whichever combinations work for you, after a long time of trading, you should decide which ones you like the best. You should have an idea of what I like from my charting. I like support resistance. I like Fibonacci's. I like trend channels. And I like patterns, and I like candlestick formations. I love dojis. I love shooting stars. There are also bugs. I love shooting stars. I love hammers. I love my triangles. I like the cup and handle. Was never a huge fan of the head and shoulders. I recently became a bigger fan of the head and shoulders, but as you can see, they have not been working out for me. Triangles, ascending, descending, symmetric. Triangles have been working very well for me for years. So technical analysis is trial and error. Honestly, it really is what works for you. Next. When is the next Ethereum crypto scam video coming out? I will try to shoot it next week. Everything got pushed to next week. I'm home as of tomorrow. I'm cutting my Memorial Day weekend short so I can wake up early in the morning and I can start doing all this stuff. Including looking for a new computer, by the way, because the new Microsoft Surface finally got announced and it's a complete piece of garbage. So everything I've been waiting for the last 6 freaking months is garbage. So now I actually have to go out and get a real computer. I hate Macs. I hate Apple. I don't want to get the Surface, the MacBook Pro. If I get the MacBook Pro, I'm probably going to install Windows on it and run Windows. So I think half of my followers that are Mac users just died inside a little. And I can't use Linux, guys. I'm sorry. And so I may have to go with the Dell, with SPX, or one of those powerful little laptops. I need something portable, I need something light, and I need something with power so that I can actually not have to deal with memory issues. But I am going to try and shoot the next episode of Crypto Scam next week. If I don't have to do too much editing, it'll go out as is. So we'll get to that next week. How much of a price drop would you consider Ethereum, XMR, and them to crash? I mean, okay, so they crashed. The altcoin markets crashed. Oh, I don't have screen share, so I'll do it next time. The overall market cap of all the altcoins got out of control and crashed. Now, I guess I was hoping, or I was, I guess, the optimist, thinking that when the altcoins crash, they would. Oh, also, can someone please, like, Rich, if you see a bear behind me, and this is actually not a joke, there was a bear walking around here 3 days ago. If you see a bear behind me, please immediately notify me in the Skype window, because I'm literally the only one out here at the moment. And normally you're supposed to be facing that way when sitting, because my anyway, I'll be shooting other videos from here. You'll see other angles of my trailer where I live during the summer on occasion when the weather's nice. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, oh my God, how many questions do I have today? Jesus Christ. All right. Lost my place. Okay, so I was I guess hopefully optimistic that when the altcoins crashed, that value would go into Bitcoin. Obviously, that did not happen. When the altcoins crashed, so did Bitcoin. That's unfortunate. I was hoping that the altcoin crash would drive Bitcoin up, and I still think it will do it once SegWit has clarity. When SegWit has more clarity, I believe that will happen. I talked about it last week. Again, please look at Wednesday's video. Bitcoin has had 2 notable crashes of 90%. It had an additional notable crash of 75%. Ethereum and Monero and Dash, they've never actually had those. Well, Dash did. It went from 15 back to like $3. But they need these crashes. It hasn't happened yet. So I am looking for a 90% crash in a lot of those markets. They're due, and I still think that a lot of that value would flow into Bitcoin. All right, next. Have you heard about Bitcoin Classic doing a hard fork on 1st of June that double our Bitcoin and cold storage? That question makes no sense. Oh, Bitcoin Classic, not Ethereum Classic. Sorry. Have you heard about Bitcoin Classic doing a hard fork on the 1st of June? Is it not like tomorrow? No, I haven't heard this. That's ridiculous. They will not hard fork because they would, that would just be stupid. Not happening. Haven't heard of it. If I buy you a WebBot report, would you read it? For one time, to give your general opinion on it is 20 pages. Guys, I honestly don't think I have the attention span to read something that's 20 pages long. I can get the report if I wanted to. I mean, I got friends that are buying the report. I don't know how much that report costs. I'd rather you give me that money than pay it to WebBot. If you have a WebBot report and you want to send it to me for me to read it and give my opinion, I guess. I mean, I don't think I don't think Cliff High is worthy to be covered in Crypto Scam. Maybe. I don't know. I really don't. I honestly think my time would be better spent doing Crypto Scam Ethereum than reading a WebBot report. I don't know. I got like 3 white papers in my inbox. People want me to read Civic's white paper. I don't know what the hell Tezos is. People are sending me that white paper. Like I don't get paid for this, guys. You get to the top of the queue if you pay me. If you pay me to read Cliff High's report, I will read Cliff High's report. If you pay me to read white paper X, I will read white paper X. Look, I'm for hire. I'm a researcher, and if you pay me to do research, I'll do your research, right? Everything else, if I'm doing, I would love to do my own voluntary work, but I can use the money. I'm not Bitcoin rich. I didn't get in 2011. I got in on one of the 2013 bubbles. And then I made lots of mistakes with my Bitcoin. You all know that, right? Those that watch me regularly. So, yeah, if someone pays me to do research on Project X, I'll do it. Because I'm not going to be doing, I'm not going to spend 100 hours researching Steemit again at no at no benefit to me. All right, next. Tone, to what degree do you think central banks are buying blue chip stocks? It depends on the central banks. Do I want to share a screen right now? Did I ever take that snapshot? Oh man, I don't know if I ever did. Like the Swiss central banks is buying stocks. Other central banks are buying stocks. The Federal Reserve is not buying stocks, but but maybe they should. Maybe they should. Maybe they should hedge their stupid bond holding position. Um, as far as I know, central banks aren't buying stocks, but European central banks are. They're buying stocks, which is fine. I don't have a problem with it. I have money in stocks. They can buy them. That's fine. Treasury prints the money, not the Federal Reserve, guys. All right, next. All right, where am I here? There are a number of gold-backed cryptos coming on the market. When those open, the Middle East buyers will buy. I'm not really a big believer in tokens backed by physical gold. For more on that, please go to the World Crypto Network. Look up the podcast On the Record with Tone Vase, where I interviewed Anthem Blanchard, who is doing a token backed by gold. A token backed by gold is like eGold. It's also like, I got 10 minutes, guys. It's also, it's like buying regular gold. I don't see, there's just risk, right? You're buying this token. It's on Ethereum. Ethereum can fork. God knows what can happen. Is your token registered? If your token is not registered, your token can be hacked. Now someone else has control of your gold, or you got to register it and they know who you are. So how is that different from buying the gold ETF? I mean, it's the same stuff. I don't care for it. If Jeremy Corbyn can get a hung parliament, I'm honestly not familiar with Jeremy Corbyn. Oh, in Britain, how would that affect the pound-euro trade? I'm not sure. I need to be more up to date on the politics of Great Britain. Can't answer the question, sorry. What caused the sudden massive drop in all the cryptos the other day? Is it an indicator trading bots were heavily involved? I don't think so. Look, I think the prices just got up too high too fast, and then one guy sells and takes profit, and another guy sells and takes profit, and a margin call is made, dropping the price some more, and people just leave and panic, and no one wants to buy because the price is falling. I don't think there was any catalyst. It just, a correction was badly needed, and it's better that it happened now than if the prices doubled, because then it would have been worse. Next. You have claimed in the past that the only way you should sell Bitcoin is by meeting with someone IRL for cash. Considering government will remove physical cash in the future, how will you do this? I don't know. I don't think. Okay, here's the thing. Here's the beauty of economics. You ready? Satoshi was not an economic genius. If Satoshi would have created 100 million Bitcoin supply instead of 21 million Bitcoin supply, the world would have adjusted. If Satoshi would have made 1 hour blocks instead of 10-minute blocks, the world would have adjusted. If Satoshi would have created a halving every 10 years, the world would have adjusted. If Satoshi would have created, I don't know, an infinite inflationary supply of 2% inflation forever, the world would have adjusted, okay? The economics surrounding the new digital asset class of Bitcoin, which is a censorship-resistant, permissionless value transfer, decentralized, is the innovation. The economics surrounded it. People what it is today by adjusting to the economics. Cash is not going to be eliminated anytime soon. And by soon, I mean this decade, and maybe not even until the end of next decade. By the time cash is eliminated, you will no longer need to sell your Bitcoin for cash. If Bitcoin is around in 15 years, I believe it can start to become the unit of account in some places. And you won't need to sell it, which is good. You will just use it to buy the crap that you need. Okay? Hope that answers your question. Next. If you had a guess, where do you see Bitcoin dominance in mid-August? Bitcoin dominance has no longer become relevant because of dumb ICOs like Geonosis, which is that sells 5% of their coins, but the market cap is taken on the entire coins that aren't in circulation. Or they are in circulation by the company that issued the coins. Ripple is the same thing. To me, the Bitcoin dominance is somewhat irrelevant. And these ICOs are coming out like a dime a dozen. If next month 500 new ICOs get issued, each one has a few $1 million in market cap, it will greatly reduce the dominance of Bitcoin. Okay, next. Oh, wow. I have like an infinite number of... Rich, that's it, man. I can't take any more questions. Oh, man. Yeah, it is kind of cold out here, guys. Next. Are you afraid that you'll look like Bill Ackman or of Herbalife on the ICOs and shitcoins? In other words, correct, but it doesn't matter market-wise. Yes, absolutely. I've said this on prior shows. I already feel like the Peter Schiff of the altcoin space, where I think I'm the only sane one, screaming that these altcoins are in a bubble and they're in a crash, and meanwhile society is accepting these altcoins. If they bribe enough regulators, you know, they'll all become legal, and none of the Ethereum founders will get arrested, like I've been saying for years. It's possible that they will all be perfectly legal, and I was totally wrong. So yes, I could be the Bill Ackman versus Herbalife. By the way, he made me some good money. I was actually short Herbalife at the time. That was beautiful. And I think I did even better on Green Mountain House, GMCR, Green Mountain House Coffee. I was short that trade, and either him or another hedge fund manager had this giant 100-page report on how they're a scam. And that those were two of my greatest trades of my life. POS. That does worry me a little bit, and I don't know what else to say, but yes. Next, psychology. Altcoins are going fast only when Bitcoin is stable. In other cases, Bitcoin breaking out to all-time highs or crashing, altcoins crashing with it. What is under it in your opinion? I honestly don't know. Look, the more stable Bitcoin is, the better it is for everyone. Everyone, especially the users of Bitcoin. The last thing the users of Bitcoin want is volatility. Users of Bitcoin want as much stability as possible. So yes, the more stable Bitcoin, the better it is for everyone. When Bitcoin goes like this, everything gets put on hold. Nobody wants to do anything. I know I'm not a good enough trader to time it all. So yes, I'm going to try and go through these kind of fast. Is it possible to mirror your one broker? No, it's not, because I don't open up my one broker trades to people. I don't want to be responsible for people's trading. I'm just here to educate. I'm not here to manage people's money. I'm not here for people to follow my trades. This is why I don't actually talk about the things I trade. I only trade the one broker stuff for fun, just for the hell of it. And because I don't even like directional trading. I use my technical analysis to kind of educate, and I like the attention, guys. What can I say? And I like the fact that people are reaching out to me for consulting. I finally get to make some money after being, simply a content creator as a volunteer. I don't want to be paid to do content, because then there might be an agenda. I have no agenda. I almost got, I was at that token summit. Go to my Twitter. Go to my Twitter. Look at the, oh, I don't want to share screen. Look at my back and forth with William Mugliar. I can never pronounce his name. The organizer of Token Summit. He literally said, if he would have walked up to me earlier at that conference, he would have tried to kick me out. Okay. If you are a real content creator, you have a huge chance of getting kicked out. Okay. I almost got kicked out of scaling Bitcoin, and I love Bitcoin. Scaling Bitcoin almost kicked me out for doing content. Okay. Never underestimate the power of an independent content creator. Okay. You will occasionally get kicked out of conferences. And I gotta get more creative at getting into these conferences, right? Sometimes I pay to get in, but I don't want to pay to get in. So I have and I don't want to have my name on the list. I don't want them to know that I'm coming. I want to already be there. I don't want to get turned away at the door. So a lot of times I have other people buy me a ticket to the conference, and then I use their name to get in, because they're not going, but I'm going in their place. Okay. A lot of people know me. And please, if you did sign up for a conference and you can't go and you're willing to give up that ticket, please, I'll gladly go in your place, and I will do the content so you would get the most out of it, and I will potentially get kicked out. But to a lot of these conferences, I'm a pain. I'm a pain to these people. And if they know that I'm coming, I may not be able to get in. But when I go in and I drop a name that's not mine, because that name is on the list and that person is not going, but hey, all of these ICOs are scamming people. I do not feel bad about scamming these conferences. I will never scam scaling Bitcoin. I pay my own way to go there. But if you're doing a scam conference, I will find a way to get in there. And a lot of times, it will be a way where you legally will not be able to remove me. I mean, of course, you can at your conference, but oh man, I've never sued anybody, but I would love to sue a conference for kicking me out, for kicking a journalist out of a conference that has a legal standing to be there, because the journalist's ticket was fully paid for. Actually, that's why I didn't get kicked out of scaling, by the way, because I paid to be there. And I was doing content. Anyway, That's kind of the short story. Are you enforcing BIP 148 yet? If not, can you tweet a guide? I am not signaling for BIP 148 yet. Again, on my to-do list this week, and I will potentially document and maybe do a video about me setting up my BIP 148 or signaling for BIP 148. Tone, how old are you and where are you born? I can't disclose this information for Sybil attack purposes, and not for Sybil attack purposes. For social engineering purposes, I am no longer disclosing any personal information because I can be what do you call it? I'm not schizophrenic. I'm just like bugs. I don't want to be socially engineered, so I can't answer that. And if you know, if you happen to know my birth date, if you happen to know where I was born, if you happen to know some of my personal information, if you want to do me a favor to not share it with the general public, it may save me some Bitcoin and other headaches to prevent me from being social engineered. Next. What are the changes of Vitalik? What are the chances? I have no idea, guys. I'm not a lawyer. What are the chances of Vitalik actually getting in legal trouble? I personally think the chances are pretty damn high, but that's just an opinion. It's an uninformed, unprofessional opinion. Opinion on Huobi introducing ETH. I'm surprised Huobi's still around, guys. I never trusted that exchange. That's all I can say. All right, 2 questions left. Would you support an altcoin that complements Bitcoin? I mean, I'm okay with Litecoin. Litecoin doesn't bother me. That complements Bitcoin. Look, a lot depends on how the coin is created, and a lot depends how the coin is being managed. And how it's being developed and who's developing it. How smart are those people? What's the background of those people? Do these people believe in privacy? Do these people believe in centralization? Or did these people, come from Google? Next. Are we going back to the 200-day moving average? Ooh, interesting. I'm not going to share screen, but I'll take a look. The 200-day moving average is currently at $1,100 a Bitcoin. I honestly don't think so. I think we may go back to the 50-day moving average, but let's hope it's not for another month or so where it gets to pull back up. The 200-day moving average is exactly on the bottom of my channel. You know what? Here, let me paste my, here is my, I'm going to go into the chat window, and I'm just going to paste my graphs in there, guys. So if you're in the chat, here you go. Here are the graphs. You can see that the 200-day moving average is at the bottom of the channel. I hope you guys can click on them and they work. I'm about to wrap up this video, by the way. Almost done. Think I'm done with questions. There was a lot of live questions. And I have not been looking at the chat, so I don't know what you guys were talking about. Let me show I get the hourly chart in there too. Okay, there you go. Those are my charts, guys. So you can see what it is. And I really don't want to see Bitcoin drop below 2,000. That would worry me. I think we'll stay above 2,000 on Stamp, 1,900 on Bitfinex. They've totally flipped. And All right, hope the video quality was good. Hope the audio quality was good. And on this note, I'm going to say my goodbyes. Again, if you are trading traditional assets with Bitcoin, please check out my affiliate code for One Broker. You know what? I'm going to try and get a One Broker person on the Record podcast, because I find it myself scary trading on One Broker, because it's unsecured Bitcoin, and unsecured Bitcoin. As you know, these things generally end badly. And that's it. Thank you for your donations. Thank you for those that are contacting me for private consulting services. The rate is 0.1 Bitcoin per hour. We can talk about altcoins. We can talk about markets. We can talk about gold, silver, whatever you prefer. All right. On that note, I am going to sign off. I think I went a little over an hour, and I'm going to try and keep these things to 1 hour going forward. See you all mid next week, probably Wednesday, but we'll see. Okay, most likely Wednesday. All right, closing off with 300 plus viewers. Thank you, thank you again for tuning in.